So thank you so much for joining today's CVA Open Stage Night. This is our new initiative, only happening for the second time. We had one last year. Basically, we wanted to create this event that's very organic and natural for introducing some of our CVA members and giving a platform for networking. So by no means this is a very formal event. We want people in the audience to be interacting with us throughout the event. So feel free to put your questions in the chat or the Q&A, and then I can unmute you or bring you into the camera so we can have a little chat at the end. Also, this is the very first time that we have 100% female panel, which is very exciting. Most of the time we see mostly men on these panels, so this is really nice to have you all ladies here. And I guess the theme of today, in a way, is community slash marketing, branding in the crypto space, because most of you operate in this field. So I'm gonna start with a very brief intro on all of you. Well, at least just your name and where you work and your role, and then you can feel free to introduce yourself. So first we have Laura Bernier, co-founder of Arcades Digital. We have Sara Simeone, founder of Digital Oracles. We have Mariem Farhat from Flowbank, and she's the head of digital marketing. And we have Yasi, Zhang, and we're supposed to have Ivana as well, but unfortunately she couldn't join today from Promote and Scale. They are both co-founders of the company. Would you like to say something about yourselves, ladies, quickly before we begin the presentations, or do you want to include it in your presentation? Maybe that. Yeah, okay. So basically the agenda for the event is that we're going to hear from these amazing female leaders from the space on what they do in their companies. And we'll have a short presentation from each of them. And then we're going to go into Q&A and a short panel. So Laura, do you want to kick off?
Sure, thank you. Thanks, Nikki, and thanks to the Crypto Valley Association. I'm really happy to be here with all the panelists here who are doing great things. So thank you for the invitation. I will just share my screen. I have a little presentation, a very short presentation prepared for today's session. My name is Laura, as Nikki said. I am a co-founder of Arcades Digital. You see here we've changed and updated our logo a little bit because we're moving a little bit into an incubator space. We started off as focusing on NFTs, and now we're kind of exploring where we can go with Arcades Digital because there's so many venues where we can have a place. So my background is in art history, digital curation, digital preservation, photography. So I'm really invested with the artistic side of blockchain technology. So essentially this means NFTs. I find it a very exciting place to be. Everything moves so fast, and it's amazing to see how the technology is growing and changing, especially in the past 2 years. So let's see. Okay, so what we're based in Geneva. We're a blockchain company specializing in the high value digital assets and NFTs. We provide a number of services. They're usually direct to client, and we're also working, as I mentioned, as an incubator for spin-out projects and standalone projects. So we really have a wide variety of projects that we work with right now. The majority of our work is really non-fungible tokens and increasingly joining the metaverse. We have joined with Meta Digital, which are partners in Zurich called Couple. We have a house in Decentraland, and we do events like Schnitzeljagd. What is that? A treasure hunt. We do treasure hunts in Decentraland, which is very fun, and I'm sure we'll send out the invite so you can follow us and participate and win some great stuff. So we do those occasionally. Dossier Digital is our spinoff based in New York, and this is really one of close to my heart. One of the projects is closest to my heart because we're using archives and the archives of architects to develop metaverse architecture. It's absolutely fascinating. And our newest project is called Nomica, and this is going to be an ESG platform where NFTs are the product. So ESG is environmental social governance, and this is going to be a platform which I'm sure we'll hear about quite a bit. I know Chris is very passionate about this, so I'm sure he's going to be speaking about this soon. So art was really the first part of our company. That's our foundation. When we founded the company in 2020, we realized the potential for blockchain technology in the art space, not just digital art, but fine art. What you can really do with the technology to transport value. And this kind of has informed the beginning of our company, and we've just been so surprised at the applications that we've had since then. So we work with artists, creators, collectors, investors to create NFTs and ownership experiences, which includes display and also projects in the metaverse. Here we have the metaverse, a great topic. I love talking about the metaverse. It's really exciting that non-fungible tokens are such an integral part of the metaverse. You have wearables, you have digital art, you have in-game play to earn assets. The NFTs really are the assets of virtual worlds, and it's wonderful to see how they converge. So again, we work with our partners to conceptualize metaverse experiences. We also are an NFT incubator. So as I mentioned, we work with the architecture firm Dossier Digital, which is actually the first project is live right now. If there are any soccer fans in the audience, I highly recommend following Meta Soccer. We will be providing the digital assets for the stadia within the play to earn game. And we're working with an LA firm called Nice Architects, who built the Crypto.com stadium, for example, Everton Stadium, really world-class architects to build in this new environment. And of course, Nomica, which is our very exciting reward protocol tokenization project. And going back to the art, we have been invited to participate at the Venice Biennale as part of a NFT DAO curating within the Cameroon Pavilion. This is the very first time that a pavilion will be presenting just purely NFTs. So it's very exciting. The Nomica launch will be happening very soon, and the Meta Soccer Stadium drop by Dossier Digital will be happening within the next few months. That's kind of a general overview of what we're doing. You can follow us, arcades.digital, arcadesvision.io, and dossierdigital.io. Thank you so much, and I'm really looking forward to hearing from the other panelists. Thank you.
Thanks, Sara. Seems like you guys have been expanding, and like what started as an art tokenization product now is becoming so much more.
It really is.
Yeah. Later, we're going to talk about this more in the panel. But thank you so much for the presentation. Sara, would you like to go next?
Yes, sure. I'll try to share my screen. Let's see. Okay. So let me know if you see the full screen.
Not yet. We see the
yeah,
PDF,
now?
but it hasn't gone on full screen just yet.
Yeah. What about now?
No, but
let's see.
Not sure why.
Well,
but we can still see it. I mean, it's pretty big, so it's good.
Absolutely. Sounds great. So thank you everyone for having me here today. I'm Sara Simeone, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Digital Oracles. We gamify and tokenize business growth. So it's a little bit of a different use case from the ones that we usually hear about, but it is quite an interesting one. So this is a little bit about myself. I've been working for some of the world's biggest media companies, and I mentor some of the most amazing startups in the blockchain and tech space. And I've definitely got quite a lot of attributes similar to an NFT. This is myself. And the past 2 years has actually been a bit of a journey building this project. If I had $1 for every pitch presentation, for every failed application, for every investor inquiry, for every no that I received, I'd probably be rich. Or at least back then, I could have probably filled part of my pre-seed round. And I'm not alone, because there are over millions and millions of entrepreneurs out there in the same situation. So, but we can actually change that. And, this is why we created Digital Oracles as a grow to earn platform that monetizes and tokenizes the growth of startups. And we're doing that in different ways. First of all, we want to turn all these meetings, no's, and work into liquid and tradable assets, such as NFTs. And everything, all of this is leveraged by our crypto community, who give liquidity to the startups and support and signals to the investors. And finally, we want to remunerate all of those involved through royalties and rewards as part of this new growth economy. And we are just what we see as Digital Oracles, we are the missing piece of the early stage investment ecosystem, because at the end of the day, everyone focuses on monetizing the investment, through equity, success fees, subscription fees, whereas we have developed a way or a method to actually monetize growth. So this is our ecosystem and how it works. So we've got the deal flow providers, or the investors, who are the oracles. We call them the oracles, and they refer and support vetted deal flow. We got the startups, who are the engine of our platform, who are turning growth assets and progress into tradable assets. And then, of course, we got the liquidity providers, so the market, who can validate the growth and provide support to the whole ecosystem. And this is how we're planning to use this. We want to basically give a true utility to NFTs. So by, for instance, giving real royalties to, those ones who are referring startups to the platform, such as accelerators and incubators, turning some of these documents, such as pitch documents, white papers, and more into gated content, rewards, challenges, tips, grants, you name it. And this is how it works a little bit from our live platform, which will change in the next coming weeks anyway. But you can turn pitches, video pitches, into NFTs. You can earn from investors' connections. And of course, they can earn from growing by completed tasks through our platform. We are growing through partnerships. So we are here, of course, we've got Crypto Valley as one of our great partners. We got university spin-outs, such as University of Manchester up here in Manchester, but many, many more across the UK, and other accelerators and incubators. They all have different ways and reasons to actually use the platform, from creating engagement to actually tracking the growth of their portfolio companies and segment their deal flow. And we're actually seeing more and more VCs that actually want to monetize their deal flow, and they see this as a great opportunity for them to do so. This is our team. We are totally decentralized. We got experience, spanning from blockchain to marketing, communications, private equity, and much, much more, and legal. But I'm a lot about legal. Our supporters, we've grown through grant funding. We got some great names in there, from universities to local governments and blockchain providers. And we recently just finished our accelerator program powered by Animoca Brands and Brink. We are basically already live on Polygon, and we're in the process of actually launching the second iteration of the platform. So, we're on a mission really to turn growth progress into liquid assets. And what we say is that what Sandbox is to players, Digital Oracles will be to startups. So it's a game changer, and we really hope that, we'll be able to do this together. Thank you.
Thank you, Sara. That was very interesting. I also feel like since the first time you guys have joined the CVA, you have gone through a lot of growth, and this NFT tokenization of growth is something very exciting and new. And I haven't seen an NFT like this before. I feel like every day we see new and new uses of NFTs. And this is really cool what you've done.
Absolutely. I think that was actually one of the key differentiation points for us to be accepted into the Animoca Brands program. So, but we look forward to actually exploring more use cases as we grow.
That's so cool. And I want to hear more about the community that you have built and, like all the startups that have joined Digital Oracles. So we'll talk about that in the panel at the end. Mariem, if you want to introduce yourself next and what you do at Flowbank, that will be amazing.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Nikki, for having me. I'm really happy to be on the stage. So let me just share my screen for a second. Hopefully this works. Is it working?
Yeah, it's loading. Now we can see.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so yeah, a brief introduction about myself. I'm Mariem, head of digital marketing at Flowbank. I come from a background of finance actually, but I was never eager to work on a traditional bank. So I got into crypto just after my studies. I used to be a crypto analyst, but after a few years of doing that, I wanted something more creative, yet data driven. So I shifted to growth and marketing. And yeah, after a crypto startup, here I am at Flowbank, which is a digital modern banking solution. So Flowbank was born from the idea of, sorry, you can see the right slides, right? Because I am not sure of what you're seeing right now.
We're seeing the very first slide.
Okay, perfect. So Flowbank was born from the idea of reshaping the Swiss banking system. We aim to facilitate access to global markets in general by making them accessible, fair, and transparent to everyone. So a brief introduction about who we are and how we get to actually fund this company. The bank was funded in 2020 by Charles Sabet. After founding and leading traditional banks, brokers, and several companies, it became clear that the bank of the future cannot operate with today's structure and costs while remaining competitive. So there was a clear need to undertake major changes with a focus on applying advanced technology to the business and the entire value chain. So by leveraging technology of fintech and adding the security of a Swiss bank, Flowbank came to fruition. So we have been developing our services, aiming to become an international player in digital banking. So we offer a wide range of financial services. We have online market making, direct market access, multi-currency bank accounts. You can deposit, you can do payments. We have algorithmic trading. We are actually now a primary brokerage and custody, and all of those services can be packaged for private and institutionals. Flowbank stands out from the competition thanks to its technology, the most competitive fees in Switzerland. I mean, mostly for Forex and CFDs. We have the Swiss banking license, and we are a multi-asset platform. I mean, traditional asset classes and crypto assets are in general too fragmented market. People earn money through crypto, but sometimes they don't know how to cash it out easily. With Flowbank, you don't need to even think about it. You can actually trade your crypto and cash it out all in one platform, and with a tap of a finger. So to achieve this, we have built two platforms. I mean, whether you are experienced or just getting started, we have a platform for you. So we first launched the Flowbank app, which is our solution for investors, which is more a swipe platform, very easy to use, intuitive. You can convert money in seconds, manage your money on the go, buy buy fractional shares, access global markets, and it's only mobile. And you have Flowbank Pro, which is more for advanced traders. You can trade over 50,000 instruments from stocks, bonds, options, crypto CFDs, ETFs, and soon direct access to crypto. You have multi-currency account. You have the basket trader, risk management tool. It's a very flexible and customizable platform, and it's on desktop and mobile. As a startup, of course, we are in a continuous innovation. we recently introduced our strategic partner. You may already like familiar with this company. It's Csanyi. They're a pioneer in the crypto space. Through them, I mean, they enable digital asset exposure for investors on traditional exchanges. And thanks to their offer, now our client can access to crypto CFDs and ETPs. And we are working on a direct access to crypto very soon. So, I mean, merging kind of the traditional banking and the DeFi world, like it's kind of a sign of industry transformation. And we think that it will take our product offering to the next level. So what is on the roadmap for the near future? We will soon launch the multi-currency debit card. We will have, as I said, crypto trading and custody, tokenization, market makers on tokenized asset classes like private equities, real estates, etc., and APIs for brokers and high frequency traders. Sorry. Yeah, that's it for me. Thank you for your attention. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate.
Thanks for the presentation, Mariem. It seems like so many exciting things are happening at Flowbank. This is such a cool process to be part of, right?
And actually, you just saw like our new rebranding, because before we were like in a more like very green vibe, etc. And now we decided to really focus on trading and investing, and became more like techy and more focused on technology. And like you were in the front end of our rebranding that is coming actually public on the 7th of April.
Nice. It looks really nice. I was actually looking at the illustrations and I was like, wow, this looks really cool. Good job. Amazing. I have a lot of questions for you at the end, but let Yasi take the stage now and talk a little bit about Promote and Scale and what they are doing there, and then we will circle back to all of you.
All right. Yeah. Thanks, Nikki, for organizing the events, and also I see a lot of participants here. Okay, thank you guys. Even though I don't know who you are, but we know that you are here and together with us. It's a very interactive session. So feel free, if you have any questions, please leave it in the comment section. So as Nikki said, our company is called Promote and Scale. So by the name, you would have guessed what we do. Yes, we are a digital marketing agency. So we help startups promote and scale. So we founded this company in Zug, Switzerland, because here people call it Crypto Valley, right? And there are so many companies right here. But in the past few years, while me and my co-founder Ivana were working in this space, and what we have observed is that a lot of Web3 or blockchain companies, tech startups, they are led by tech founders, or maybe in-house, they don't have marketing expertise. So they tend to deprioritize go-to-market or deprioritize marketing. As a result, so most of people might hire their, friends and family members to help them out with marketing, or they hire freelancers here and there. And in the end, everything is fragmented, and then you don't achieve the highest ROI. So what we want to do is that we really want to change that and bring the professional marketing services to the space and help tech startups that really level up their go-to-market and all their marketing activities so they can achieve the ROI. Because what we say is marketing is an investment, okay? So a little bit about our company. I'll just have a few slides to take you through. So a bit about myself. So in the past 10 years, I've been working in international companies on international brands, mainly about marketing campaign, brand management. I work in Northern Europe, Africa, Congo, Singapore. And then a few years back, and then I moved to Switzerland. I joined the Crypto Valley space. And I have my marketing consulting company in Singapore. Back then, it's called Expand. And then right now, it's very fortunate that we get to know so many startups. So also I work as a startup coach for the CV Labs incubation program, or Oasis Protocol Accelerator, and advisor for blockchain tech startup. And I have my co-founder. So we are a female team, and the same was here. I like it as a female team. So she used to work in banking by UBS and also Bitcoin Swiss. And also she had her own podcast in the past. And she's also a startup coach at CV Labs incubation program. So working with us, we have a small team, and also we have few service providers that work with us long-term. So we are pretty much decentralized. and it's very close-knit team. And we're very eager to work with tech startups and the founders. And the problem we really want to solve is to help them that when they have limited resources and limited experts in-house, and then we help them to go to market. We help them achieve business objectives. So the main service we provide nowadays, there's a huge demand from NFT projects. So I'm sure like previous few speakers already mentioned NFT. We have like about 8 to 9 calls every single day. So we have to close our calendar. And so for this NFT project, we have proposed that, social media management, Twitter, LinkedIn, Discord, and we also run paid advertising if they have budget, if it's fit into the marketing plan. And we also set up email marketing, do newsletter, and also create video content, as well as blogs and press release. And last and most importantly, people like to use influencer marketing. Now we are in this, we talk about blockchain, we talk about NFT, influencers and communities are 2 major components in the whole go-to-market strategy. So I would say our services are very straightforward, and then we work with a small group of clients, and we are very passionate about it. And if you have any questions, if you have a project on hand, want to talk to us, so feel free to reach out, and here's our contact information. All right.
Thanks, Yasi. That was quick, but I think we can dive into all of the things that you do during the panel, because I know you have some great insights and you're creating a lot of content that's very useful for startups. So first, I wanted to tell the audience that if you have any questions to the panelists, you can raise your hand, or you can just type into the chat box, and I can move you into the speaker group. And I haven't seen any questions so far. So maybe we can kick off with the panel and then see if the audience has any questions. Let me just put us in a gallery view. Perfect. Okay, so I was trying to find a common thread between all of us today, besides, of course, being females in the crypto space. And I didn't want to just talk about how is it to be a female and, female leadership and so on, because I am seeing that there's more and more females in the space, which makes me very happy. And I know we have other platforms to talk about this. So let's focus on what you do, your expertise, all of the amazing things that you're doing in the space. And the common thread between us, of course, is community, and you being part of the CVA community, but also communities of your own that you're doing, right? Like, for example, Sara is running a startup community, Laura and Yasi, and Mariem, marketing community, community outreach, the NFT community. There's a lot of overlap between us. So maybe we can start with the marketing aspect of community and how to build a crypto community. Mariem and Yasi, what is your experience in like building a crypto community? Is it very different from a marketing perspective to other communities? Is it special in a way? What works in reaching the crypto community? What's most important in building your community?
Well, as you said, like in the crypto world, like community is one of your most important assets. Like there is no formula like of building a successful community. I mean, it doesn't exist, but like being consistent and building trust around your brand can actually speed up the process. According to my experience, but for sure, like Yasi has more experience than me. For me, like the first thing is really creating a story around your company. Like storytelling is really powerful to build relationship, to connect with people, to attract like actually members like to your community, because like people need to relate to something, to a vision and a mission. And by doing that, like you actually give a human voice to your brand and capture attention. For me, something very important, because I started in the crypto space when I was like super young and I didn't know anything about it. I did HSC, but believe me, it was super traditional. Like they don't talk about it. Now it changed, but before they don't talk about crypto at all. Like what attracted me in the previous company, it was like why I wanted to do an internship with them. It was because like they were a voice of education to newcomers. And crypto is full of technical concepts, and by providing a comprehensive educational material, you can have an opportunity to inspire your loyalty. And then like you can engage and reward your members. It's not just like by throwing one tweet from time to time. You can like reward them, boost the engagement, creating a community token based on the proof of merit. Yeah, I mean, those are the most important thing in my opinion.
Makes sense. And I mean, so you were working at Swissborg, which undoubtedly has a really, really strong community. Like, it's amazing how loyal and dedicated people are to Swissborg. Like, what do you think they were doing best in attracting this community? Like, how were they able to build this amazing community around them?
To be honest, the first thing, it was like creating a mission and a vision when everyone like was like feeling like part of this, like really reshaping the financial ecosystem. Like, it was amazing how they were able to, I mean, it's all the big companies, right? Like with Apple, it was Steve Jobs, like actually like Elon Musk, like Tesla, he actually created this whole vision of sustainability around it. So it was like the most important thing. And also they did a nice show. So after they built the whole story, white paper, etc., like they did the ICO, they were able like to actually, they didn't have any investor that had token holders that were actually working for their money to actually be able to have a return on investments, but also believing on the vision of the founders. And then like really focused on education. It's the same thing we are trying to do today at Swissborg. But then also like everything was rewarded on the proof of merit. So like people felt like they worked for something and they get rewarded, and it's very satisfying.
Makes sense. That's a really good
what I said before.
So basically, like, my takeaway, what I'm hearing is it's really important to have a clear story or a clear vision of what's driving the brands, so people can make an emotional connection with it, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And then once you have these people who are connected to your brand, then make sure that you take care of them and involve them in your activities and like DAOs and, you know, token helps in these things, right?
Exactly.
And now you're building the same thing at Flowbank or helping them build an amazing community as well.
Hopefully, yes, we are. I mean, we are trying. It's a different industry, but like we are really focused on education, on webinars. Like we are really trying. I mean, the crypto world is hectic, but also like the traditional asset classes are not really easy to navigate neither. So like through really webinars, events, trading bars, we're launching our trading bars really soon. I think in May. The first one, really to help people, to give them all the tools to be able to become smarter investors and try to enter the space in a very confident way. We're also supporting the trading game at HSA and EPFL. It's actually the opening ceremony today. To act. So, I mean, it's a demo account, but like we have 100,000 to be able to invest and trade, and then you have prices. It's a huge thing. We onboarded, I think, thousands of students. So through those little things, you actually like build the community.
And do you see a big difference between the community of Flowbank, who is a bit more traditional and not a crypto community by default, and you know your previous experience at Swissborg? Do they behave differently? Do they require motivation?
The personas are different. First, like we are not like really a crypto focused company. What we want to achieve is really a multi-asset platform. Is like having less, because the market is super fragmented, and because I worked at Swissborg, I worked at a private bank, and now I'm in a digital bank, and like it's like everyone is fighting. You go to the crypto community and they're telling you that traditional finance is bad, traditional banking is bad, and you go to traditional banking and they don't understand crypto at all. Like for them it's pure speculation, while for me it's really, I'm saying something very cheesy, but it's like really the best of both worlds that will be able to achieve like a better financial ecosystem. Like we cannot throw away years of of work optimization and evolvement, and just like saying that, hey, like Bitcoin and crypto were revolution, like it's a revolution. For me, it's like we have to take like what is in the blockchain technology, and we have to take the expertise and the expertise of a Swiss traditional banking and actually make something out of it. Like you cannot like trade only crypto. Like the main rule of finance is diversifying your portfolio to reduce the risk. So it's a whole financial ecosystem. We are not fighting against each other. And like at Flowbank, it's like, yeah, maybe it's not only crypto enthusiasts like that actually have this ideology of decentralization, of like something borderless, censorship resistant. It's more people that we have like really early investors that actually start coming into the market, and like they invest, like they're super like they have the fear of losing their money, and they invest in one stock and one ETF. And you have people that are curious investors that actually like they know the traditional market, but they don't want to be left behind the technology, and they want to diversify their portfolio in crypto. But like they know they want something that they know, and like we have a customer support 24 hours, and so like they can call us, we can help them, we can advise them, but still the onboarding is digital, everything is digital. But like we are actually having this bridge between both of two worlds and bringing confidence to people to enter the space, even if they don't know it.
Great, thank you. Yasi, from your perspective, obviously you're helping all these startups scale and help them out with creating a good narrative and reaching their community. Can you share some of your insights of what you're seeing, like the biggest obstacles for startups in reaching their community? Or like, do you have clients who do an amazing job at community management versus others who are really not great?
Yeah, it's actually a very good question, but also a very big question, because in the past I was working as a head of marketing for a blockchain infrastructure company, right? So if you work in a segment that is more infrastructure based but more B2B, I think community building is less important. But if you are in the space such as NFT, or people who actually need the community to make sure that the project is going to be successful, then the community building is very, very crucial. So I can only say from our experience that interacting or working with all the NFT projects, that they need a community. What we have seen that the successful companies or successful projects, they always have a very clear roadmap, right? They tell the community what is their vision, what is the mission, and what's the reason, the why, like why we are doing this. And then for the communities or potential community person, they read it and then they feel that, okay, I can resonate with the company's vision and mission and the purpose. So they might be interested. Okay, that at the beginning we can call it like a warm lead, if you say it in a sales term. And then they have the clear roadmap, and they are delivering everything on the roadmap step by step. And if you join their Twitter, if you join their Discord, right, all the communications are very transparent. They keep the community updated, and even the founder, they will take time to have this AMA session, have direct Q&A. So as a community member, you already share the vision, right? And then you can have a direct dialogue with the founder. So you even feel even more close to the project. And on top of that, within Discord is a great tool that then you can have a lot of games, you can have lots of events, you can have competitions, and people are helping each other and people are talking to each other. So again, you have a sense of belonging, right? So in a way, I would say for NFT project or B2C type of project that needs a big community, it's very important to share. I think I agree with Mariem said, tell your story, share your vision, mission, show your roadmap, what's the plan, stay transparent and stay connected and stay authentic, right? So you are not like a corporate talking to a general public. You are the founder of the project, or you are the project team member. You are being authentic and you are true to your community member, and you do all the things that you promise to do. So then you have people's trust. I think that's very, very important. Even a successful project, recently we have seen that even a successful project, later they have the fund, then they use the fund to buy a piece of land in decentralized land, right? It's part of their roadmap, but they didn't communicate it with the community. So in the end, people are saying, wow, they withdraw all the funds. So then the reputation was damaged. So again, stay consistent, stay communicated throughout the whole way. So I think it's not easy. It's definitely not easy, need a lot of hard work. But once you gain the trust from people, your communities will even help you to support and to gain other, new fans or grow it. Yeah.
Makes sense. And so I guess there's a theme coming on that there are certain things that needs to be checked, like clear
Yes.
communication, mission, vision, involving your community, and make sure that they can trust you. Like trust is also very important.
Yes.
Makes sense. Sarah, from your perspective, you're working with all these startups. Do you see when an investor comes in, do they look at what community these startups have built so far? Is it a value add when investors are, considering investing in these startups?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I would probably say that unfortunately, for a lot of startups and a lot of investors, is a must-have. So at the moment, unless you have a very solid community, they won't even look into your project. And I feel like, this is a bit of a short-sighted approach, because a lot of these communities, unfortunately, are inflated with bots, are inflated with spam, are inflated with, a lot of nonsense that, and this is basically what, they look at are numbers. And, instead of looking at interaction, it reminds me a lot, what Nikki, of when Facebook started, advertising. And a lot of advertisers were completely blinded by, the likes, when actually a like means absolutely nothing. So, we have lost a little bit of perspective in terms of what is really, traction. Traction is the amount of, it's the revenue, of course, but, it's the amount of users that you're able to onboard, with free advertising most of the times, organic mainly, or, if you are more of depends if you are sales or a B2B or a B2C, it really depends on your business model, but we should look at, the bottom line. We shouldn't always focus on the numbers of community, because a lot of these people, unfortunately, that are populating communities nowadays are mainly looking at rewards, looking for rewards. If you look at the longevity of some of these communities is actually extremely, short. And as soon as you are going to commit a faux pas, it's just, they're going to really penalize you, and they're going to leave you, and they're going to, troll you. And, this is not the kind of community that we want to build, and we should be building. And, there is another problem as well, there is the education of investors. Investors believe the community is the number of Discord users, Telegram users, and, but it's much more than that. In our case, for instance, we speak to startups on a daily basis through our collaborations with, yourself, membership associations, accelerators, incubators, and we are top of mind when it comes to coming to someone who can actually help them with that specific thing. And it's not necessarily happening through a social media platform, but it happens via email, it can happen via WhatsApp, it can happen. There are so many touch points. And this is what startups should probably start focusing on. How do I build a longevity in my community, and focusing on the short tail, and just basically empowering these users, these power users, to become their advocates within their community. And that is how I think we should also start educating investors on don't look at the numbers, look at what these members are doing for this company. Are they supporting them? Are through their fundraising? Are they this is the job that we should all be doing, because otherwise what's going to happen, and I've seen several times, unfortunately, women, and we are it's 5 of us today, and there are many more out there, don't have a very loud voice in this in this space, and unfortunately we are not seen as these thought leaders as many our male counterparts. But that doesn't mean actually that we don't have the content. Actually, it's probably most of the times the opposite, because women tend to speak less and do more. So, and I'm unfortunately I'm very passionate and very honest about this.
I love it.
And it is the case, and unfortunately, a lot of the female-led projects have got very smaller communities compared to the male counterparts. But that doesn't mean that we are not operating in the right way. So I think again, this is a question of education. So, and yeah, this is what I'll shut up now.
Oh, this was great. I mean, I agree with you. We see a lot of projects out there who, like, you go to their Twitter account and they have 70, 80, 100,000 followers. And then you look at the engagement and it's all very repetitive. It's not real, right? And then you question, okay, so if this company decided to purchase these bots and followers, then how much can I trust their project? Absolutely. I mean, that's already a red flag, right? But, and I also agree with you. I love the women talk less and I mean, yeah, and do more. I love it. There are a very few women in the space that are being promoted to the cult level. Like there's a lot of males, and that's probably one thing that definitely needs to change. I agree. Laura, from the community perspective, like obviously you work in a space where you're entering the NFT community and helping artists to promote their art, and NFTs are just blowing up and there's so much noise. How can you filter it, one, and like where is the place to be if you're an NFT artist? Like where can you get your art out there where it will be seen? How can you make sure that it's being seen by the right people? Just tell us a little bit about the NFT community and its world.
That's a great topic, Nikki, actually. And NFT communities are actually amazing. If you're really following an artist, artists are born to tell stories. They're born to tell visual stories. That's part of what they do. Storytelling is very important. And I think the successful NFT artists, let's say, really build those communities. And over time, I think that in terms of weeding out the good stuff from the bad stuff, I think that quality will always be relevant. That's very true in art. And I think people are able to see and recognize that. And many of the ways that you go to a museum with actual physical art, if you're looking at digital art, there's a difference between something that you can tell is quality driven and something that's different. I think we also, when we talk about community, I think it's interesting to look at the history of the past 2 years or the past year when NFTs have really become a household kind of, well, our households, our community is a little different. Maybe it's not all households, but it's definitely become part of the normal discourse is about NFTs.
Sorry to interrupt you. I read somewhere that 70% of Americans have heard of NFTs. That's mind-blowing to me.
Yeah. It's incredible, and you see things every day. Like on my crypto.com app, they were like, now you can put NFTs in your wallet. So Samsung is partnered with Nifty Gateway. Just yesterday announced that you'll be able to basically sit on your couch through your smart TV and purchase NFTs through that platform. So you really see this progression of people exploring the potential and the possibility of this. But getting back to the community question, because I think it's really interesting, because when during the past 2 years, or when COVID hit, we were all kind of searching for community in new ways. And Clubhouse became huge. NFTs were huge in Clubhouse. Telegram, Discord, you had all these people that were searching for common interests. And I think you can't really ignore that. This technology has brought people together in so many new ways. And it's incredible. And I think, okay, so your question, how do you kind of become successful, or how do you, if you're an artist, how do you get your work out there? I think building a community is definitely key. You have to have the Discord, the Telegram, you have to have a following, I think, if you're going to garner attention. And if you don't want to spend, $250,000 on the marketing that it takes to kind of get you to that point, you really start by building a community. I think a great example of this is the artist Beeple, who 1 year ago had this magnificent Christie's sale of 69 million. I think everybody kind of knows about this. But the thing that people, I think, don't necessarily realize who aren't in the space is that when that happened, he had been doing daily artwork for 13 and a half years. So he had, for 13 years, he was building this community, giving away knowledge for free, connecting with people, being very open and generous, and kind of promoting other artists that he was working with. Like Lady Phoenix is an incredible NFT artist. I highly recommend following her. She is fantastic. And she works with so many different, I mean, it's amazing, but people are kind of looking at, I don't know, like how do you transform like your community to do good? You know, how can you get your art out there? And then how can you reach a wider audience? You're seeing that now. JR, the artist JR, is doing NFTs for charity support. You see, I mean, the ESGs, NFTs are moving into the ESG space. There are a lot of little mini communities that are growing out there.
Yeah. Maybe
kind of circled around a little bit. Sorry.
Maybe there's something to explore, like the micro communities, because I feel like with NFTs, it's just an ocean and it feels so overwhelming. And then how can you tell what's going to have value? I mean, obviously you should buy something that has value to you as a person, but then of course you see all these people making all this money on NFTs, and it's hard to differentiate what is real and what has value behind it. So maybe focusing on finding your micro community and being from a influencer side, being a micro influencer might be much better as a goal than trying to gain, I don't know, 1 million followers. Like that just seems unrealistic from
even from our experience, that even when we help NFT projects to promote, right? Actually, most of the really good, solid projects with founders have experience, they have the fund, they have a plan, they have a roadmap. We all agreed that sometimes maybe it's best to just approach the micro influencers, right? And because they create better content, they are more engaging, and they are even open to have a Zoom call with the project founder to understand, why do you create this art? What does it mean? You know, what's your plan? What's your mission, vision? And then some of the influencers, they can resonate with that. Probably they create a better content helping you to promote. While even most of the time, the bigger ones, they have a standard package, like this is how much, this is how much, this is how much. And you are just one of the, you know, hundreds or tens projects in their video ads every single week. Yeah.
That's true. Okay, I think we have a question from Christoph. Sarah, you said that I seen one question asking from the audience, what would you advise for people who are not in the crypto space and don't have a crypto background in finding a job in this area? I think it's not community related, but it's a good question. I think we can all relate to it. Any of you would like to take it or make a suggestion?
I think, oh, sorry, Laura, go first.
It's okay, no problem. I think I love this question. I think it kind of brings it together of, you know, if you have no experience, then search for a community. You know, there are so many communities out there that can be tied to your individual interest and your individual skills. Like the Crypto Valley Association, the fact that you're here listening to a panel about these subjects already means that you're investing in a community. And education, there's so many free resources out there. You don't have to get a degree at a university to learn about this. There's really so much out there. So yeah, find a community and just engage. That's what I would say.
Yeah, like without understanding your background and which area, you know, what type of job you are looking for, I think just in general, my advice from my personal experience, my advice would be, I come from FMCG industry in marketing, but now I'm doing marketing in the blockchain industry and tech startup. So at that time, what I did is that I know this is my personal interest and I have a very strong why. And then I have the area, like my expertise in this particular area, marketing, but I don't have industry experience. So what I did at that time is I participate in different hackathon. I won hackathon and I developed MVP with hackathon teammates. And then I read a lot of books about blockchain and I participate in events. And also, I think once you equip yourself with certain knowledge, you don't have to be the expert if you're not in the software development area. Just have confidence, you know, everything you can learn is there's nothing you cannot learn, and then pair with your background, from your previous professional experience, and then find a niche for yourself, and then go with what Laura said, you know, attend events like this. Now you already get advice from us and you already know us, and you can connect with us on LinkedIn, or you can go to Crypto Valley conference, or you can go to, you know, Blockchain Week in Paris, you know, try to get to know people, talk to people. I think the industry is growing every day. We have so many female founders here, and many of us are not founders in the past. So as you can imagine how many job opportunities will show up in the next coming months. Yeah.
I think it's like start knocking. Yeah, go Mariem.
No, sorry, I just wanted to add something. And I think, like, to be honest, the crypto industry is more open. Like when you go to the traditional world, like they have like more strict standards, like it has to be this, the resume has to like have this and this. And the crypto space is like open. It's more like, I don't know, more helping each other in a very open way for the greater good. And the whole philosophy about it is, it's easier to get into the crypto space, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I agree with you. I feel like you get more responses if you knock on doors in the crypto space than you would get from reaching out to traditional traditional industries. That's one thing. And then the other thing is what I see from the CVA side is that we get individual members who are interested in crypto. They have not entered the space. They don't have anything. They start joining working groups. They come to these events, and then they find people from these working groups who are very open and very friendly, and then they make connections and start working on projects together. So it's all about just dipping your feet in the water and try to connect with other people, I think.
Yeah.
And it will come to you. We have
Also,
one.
many people are entrepreneurs in this space, so like you can be a little bit more entrepreneurial as well, you know, just send people email, reach out to them on LinkedIn. Like Miriam said, if people are open, right, it's not like you have to talk to the HR, submit your CV and go for interviews.
Yeah, and then if you have experience from a different market, that experience translates to the segment of the crypto market. Like if you're doing marketing in some other place, of course, those marketing skills are going to be just as useful in the crypto space as before. We have another question that was sent to Sara. So I think this will address to you, Sara, first. The question is in your experience, are investors supporting your mission with knowledge, connections, etc.? Are investors part of your community or more like distant people who are like standing further away from the community?
Yeah, what an interesting question from Christoph. So are they supporting my mission? Well, they struggled to understand my mission at the beginning because we are looking, as I said at the beginning, like, you know, our key differentiation point is to monetize the growth rather than the exit of startups. So we are basically, in a way, creating additional revenue streams a lot of these investors didn't even think about before. So it was an interesting way for us to educate them on this. But as soon as we said the words, we're going to help you to monetize your deal flow, then they started to understand straight away what we were on about. And I think, you know, using the right words with the right audience is key. And that is where I think Yasi probably is, you know, can do a great job there, because I mean, it's all about using the keywords that your audience use on a daily basis without using a lot of jargon, without using anything. So they basically understood us there. With regards to, you know, supporting us in terms of knowledge and connection, you know, it's a difficult one. Connections, you know, if you are, when I'm talking about like, you know, establishing a relationship with an investor, normally it's about like, you know, establishing a relationship with a potential girlfriend or wife. You first have to take them out for, you know, you need to court them, you need to take them out for dinner, a few dates before you're, you know, and it's gonna spend, you know, you're gonna spend a lot of time talking to this person, understanding their pros and cons, ups and downs. And then finally you pop the question. And, you know, that is so you have to build trust. And the trust can only be built if both parties are actually, you know, talking in a transparent and honest way. And that doesn't always happen with investors in the relationship between, you know, investor startups. There is an asymmetry of information, and it will always be there. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's all about like, you know, staying, you know, on your path, and keep doing what you really believe in, and hoping that other people will understand and will support you along the way. One thing for sure, we keep talking about female investing. We talk about a lot of there are not many female investors in the space, especially when we're talking about fintech, but even more so in the blockchain area. I haven't seen a lot of support from other, female entrepreneurs either, to be honest with you, in terms of opening up connections. I've seen that more from the male counterpart, funnily enough, but simply because, they have more connections themselves. And sometimes, they want to pass you, the category B investors that probably, they think you could be potentially best suited for. So it is but again, it's all a question of, as I say, pursuing what you believe in and do your homework and just chase everyone that you think that could be a good lead for you. And in terms of investors being part of our community, yes, we're seeing that some more and more investors, big investors actually, are part of our community, probably because they have bigger teams and they understand, blockchain differently. But yes, we are seeing that there is an increase in interest.
Well, we're running out of time, but I still wanted to ask one more question from all of you, and maybe that's the closing question. And I'm asking this because a lot of the audience for this open stage night is usually our startup members. So my question is, how can you build the community, and what can you do in terms of marketing when you have very little budget, right? You haven't been funded yet. And that's the case for so many companies. Do you have an advice to them? What can they do better? What can they do with small budget that will still get them attention or still build their reputation? And Yasi, do you want to take it first?
Yeah, I can take this. Yeah, so before in my presentation, we talk about when we work for project, we always look at how to increase the ROI using marketing as investment. So in this case, if you have a small investment, and I would really recommend, also it depends on what type of company you are, what type of target audience you have. I would recommend that if you are a founder, be proactive, go out to reach out to other companies and projects that they have similar audience as your target audience, and then try to create content, educational content with them. It can be on YouTube, it can be on Twitter Spaces, it can be like, how would I say, maybe a cross promotion, right? If you want to acquire new users, give their users some kind of benefit or discount. So collaboration is a very effective way to penetrate into what we called earlier micro communities. So I think that's very cost efficient. Yeah.
Cool. And is there, from what I see a lot of the times, what startups don't do a good job about is being consistent. Making sure that your messaging on your website, your social media accounts, the way you talk is consistent. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be very expensive, but consistency, in my opinion, is key. Yeah. And it's free, right? You don't have to hire somebody to just make sure that you're speaking consistently to your audience.
The problem there, though, Nikki, is that startups always have a moving goalpost, right? So they keep changing, their products. They tweak their product, services, and so on and so forth. And when you start building your online footprint, you have to remember that you actually have to change left, right, and center, because otherwise this is not going to work. With regards to your question, I totally agree with Yasi. I think first of all is build your own persona online, your own reputation, and then start building it together with others. So partnerships for us has been key to actually start closing some good partnerships, because they are cheap. It's all about relationships. Most of the time it's one-on-one relationship with their key stakeholders on the other side. So it doesn't take a lot of resources from a startup point of view. And of course, I mean, then you can do AMA sessions and much more, you know, so I think we are all aligned on that for sure.
Cool. Anything else to add to what they can do also with the low budget, or that would be the main thing for you? The partnerships are the things that you see that they're driving audience and are not very cost heavy. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree completely. For me, it's like partnering with other projects, like you bring like double value to your community or users or followers at that time. Also, like really meetups. To be honest, like when I used to work at Swissborg, by bringing this content, like this educational content, like we succeeded of building a huge meetup community around the world. Like, I mean, in Switzerland, we had like 6,000 members, and each time we were doing a meetup at our office or somewhere at our co-working space, like everyone was there, like networking, sharing like ideas, talking about how we can all work together, like for the mass adoption of the greater good, like years ago. So yeah, there is a lot of things, but also like I'm talking about like now digital marketing, like a lot of people, I mean, they underestimate the power of SEO, but like by leveraging content marketing and SEO together, you can really like increase visibility of your brand.
That's a very good insight, because I feel like SEO is hard to do, but once you get it done right, then it gives you so much benefit.
Yep. So, and I would just say also, just I agree with all the panelists here, is really like building relationships and having those partnerships, because you never know what someone else is going to bring to your life. Even if you're asking them for something, you never know what connections they have. And really being open and going out there, as I think you said, Nikki, the crypto community is really open. You have a bit more luck, I think, communicating than in more traditional places. So
okay, I mean, I think you have all listed very amazing points, and hopefully this will be useful to some of our members and will help them a little bit in building their community better, or just communicating better, reaching out to people. I think there were a lot of things that you all mentioned consistently, you know, storytelling, creating an emotional connection with your community, trying to reach out to micro communities rather than to everybody and appeal to everybody, building trust. So those are really amazing things that they can take away. Thank you, ladies, so much for taking the time. It was a real pleasure to have you all. And I'm sure we'll have you back on some other CVA events on different topics, because you're all leading the way in your own industries. And thank you for that.
Thank you, Nikki. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for the participation.
Thank you. Have a nice evening.
thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.